The 𝗵𝗿𝗃 is a leadership development organization accredited by the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. And we support entrepreneurs, managers, and leaders through leadership, mentoring, and coaching programs that we design and that we deliver. And a few years ago, we realized that in order to create greater and far-spreading impact, we needed to help others and other organizations learn about and embed effective mentoring practices in their work and in their organizations. So in the past few years, we've been developing a number of resources to help them do so and to help them in with different aspects of setting up and running mentoring programs that save time, money, energy, and frustration, while obviously still delivering real and long-term results. So this session is one of these resources. Some of you have joined the previous fireside chat from our series, The Inner Workings of Effective Mentoring, where we bring together experts that share practical insights on building and improving mentoring programs. And today it's all about you. It's a Ask Us Anything session. So I think we're all here knowing that mentoring programs are, a very powerful tool for personal and professional development in organizations, but also within entrepreneur and leadership development programs. But setting them up can be tricky. And we at the 𝗵𝗿𝗃, we see the same challenges come up again and again. That's also what your questions in the registration form showed. And so, yes, these issues are coming up again and again, and teams and organizations are not necessarily getting a positive return on their investment in mentoring programs. So we want to change that. And so we're here to answer your questions on designing, launching, and sustaining mentoring programs that are impactful. So please stick with us. Drop your questions in the chat. We will have a few updates and a giveaway for you at the end of the session. So make sure to stick with us until the end. And to help us understand a bit more about who is in the room and your experiences with setting up and running mentoring programs, we wanted to ask you a few questions before. So I'll be popping a link in the chat right now. So let me just do that now. Is the chat? Oh, yes, here. Okay, it's a Menti, so please go on this Menti. I will share my screen now. There's a few questions. So let me just do that. Give me a second, please. All right. I hope you can see my screen. Yes. Oh no, it's not the right one. I'm sorry. It's this one. Yep, this one. So, are you currently running a mentoring program or looking to set up a mentoring program, or you're just curious? Please pop in what applies to you. Okay, so we have 5 people already running a mentoring program. Okay, and the next question is for the ones who are actually currently running a mentoring program or have done so in the past. have you faced challenges in setting it up and running it? And if so, please tick any areas that apply to you. So we have recruiting mentors, recruiting mentees, ensuring mentor quality, preparing mentees, matching, a question around engagement, ongoing support, resolution, conflict resolution, and tracking and measuring impact. Okay, so we have yes, around engagement and measuring impact. Okay. I'll give you a few seconds more. All right. Well, thank you very much for your answers. Okay, engagement, maintaining engagement from participants is a main one. Thank you for your responses. So without further ado, let's get started. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to two of my colleagues who lead our design and implementation work. So Kat, our CEO, and Susie, our head of programs. Over to you, Susie, and I'll stop sharing my screen now. Yep. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, 𝗀𝗏, and welcome everyone. Great to connect with you all. Great to see some new and familiar faces in the room. We hope very much this is a conversation today, and it's great to have seen your questions that you've sent in before. We thought a helpful way of responding to those is to anchor them around our 7-step framework, which we use to design and run effective mentoring programs. The 7-step framework takes us through from program design phase to the preparation, to the recruitment, preparation, and matching of mentors and mentees. The support phase, so what as program managers can be done to ensure the sustained, effective mentoring relationships. We all know that the quality of those mentoring relationships really affects the results you'll achieve from your program. So getting people really ready to embark on their mentoring relationships as mentors and mentees, matching them and supporting them along their way, right through to closing out the program. One of the points in the mentee was around how you evaluate that, how you report on that, but also for participants, how you support them in transitioning from a structured mentoring program into the phase beyond that. So we use that as our anchor for this framework as our anchor for designing our programs. We're using it also today as our anchor for plugging your questions in across those 7 stages. So I think, 𝗀𝗏, you put the framework in the chat as well.
Yeah.
You might want to, individuals, have that open on your own screen as we go along. And we'll start with the first stage, the key stage of your program, which is designing it, understanding who it's for, what it is you're trying to achieve, and how you're going to ensure that those out there who are coming into your program know about it and are the right fit for your program in achieving its objectives and coming in with the right motivations and commitment.
Thank you very much, Susie. So we'll actually start with some of the great questions that came from the registration form. So we'll kick off with those first, and then we'll open the floor for any additional questions you might have. So make sure to pop them into the chat, and we'll do our best to cover as many as possible. So the first question we had, that's obviously that's around mentoring program design, coming from Anne, is what are the first steps to take when planning a mentoring program, whether for an organization or a larger program? Kat, maybe do you want to take that one?
Sure, absolutely. And great to see you all. and as Susie said, some old and some new faces. So in terms of what are the steps to take? So with any new initiative or project, it's really key to start by actually defining what the clear purpose is up front and making sure that that aligns with your organization goals, the strategy, the culture. And so the key questions that I generally tend to honestly help our clients answer for themselves and for their team would be 5 top questions. So number 1, what changes are you seeking as a result of the program, and why are they important to you? What would success look like for you within the program? And therefore, what are the outcomes that you want to achieve through the program and through the investment that you're making in the program? What challenges are you hearing from your mentees that you want to support? And then how can actually your mentors help and make sure there's alignment there? Fourthly, what resources do you have? And will you be given to really set it up and run it well? And that's both time as well as financial. And then lastly, do you have buy-in and sign off from those approving the budget and or moving ahead with the program, as well as from actually those who would be potentially participating in the program as well? Do they have a voice? Have they said that this is something that they want? So really the answers to those questions help set out a foundation for the decisions that you make, as well as enable you to really build a program design that meets the needs of the stakeholders and achieves the impact that you want to achieve within the time period that that program is going to run.
Thank you, Kat. So there's another question from, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right, from 𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗃, who was asking how do you secure buy-in and support from the organization and leadership for the mentoring program? You allude to that just before, Kat. Maybe you can elaborate.
Absolutely. Super, super important to make sure that everybody is bought into it and aligned to it. So as I mentioned, aligning the mentoring program with the strategic goals and really demonstrating the tangible impact that it can deliver is key. And so once you have the specific changes that you're aiming for and that you're looking to achieve and why they're important from those first questions that I mentioned, really sort of aligning those with directly with the broader organization priorities and making a clear case for why mentoring matters will help anybody say yes quicker. So for instance, if your goals include enhancing leadership skills or fostering a culture of continuous learning, framing the program as a critical strategy to achieve these outcomes in terms of talent retention, deepening employee engagement, and cultivating future leaders is really key. And so again, directly correlating those results or those objectives with the organizational growth, and sharing stories and examples of how mentoring has transformed others, whether they are within the organization already or whether they are stories from others who share like we do in this particular sphere or the sort of the area that you're working, can also be incredibly persuasive and help leaders to sort of visualize and hear the potential impact that it can achieve. If you're looking at it from an entrepreneurial ecosystem perspective, which I think some of people on the team on the call today are looking at it, or from a sector-wide perspective, really investing in training and building mentors as more than just sort of the benefit from the individual participants. And so really making sure that those, as again, the objectives of why you're wanting to build entrepreneurs through mentoring, and making sure that that's also feeding into an entrepreneurial ecosystem perspective is really, really critical. And what we've seen through the work that we've been doing is actually when mentoring is a key part of an entrepreneurial ecosystem, it actually increases the cohesiveness of the ecosystem and it actually increases the maturity of the ecosystem. And there have been research reports done on that. So what I would suggest is if you are looking to get the buy-in, is actually looking at research projects that have actually got the data to back up these particular different, sort of arguments and or points that we're making. And I think finally, being really transparent about the resources needed to be able to set up and run the program from a time, from a budget, from a personnel perspective, and demonstrating, that this is really going to be structured so that all stakeholders' needs are met, and that it's a well-planned investment is going to be key within that.
Thank you very much, Kat.
Sure.
So we had, a few of you have actually asked similar questions around how to effectively and efficiently source, recruit, and select the right mentees and mentors for your program. So maybe Susie, can you take that?
Sure. So we're moving now to stage 2 of the 7-step framework, really around participant recruitment. You know what your program wants to achieve, and you therefore know a little bit, a bit of something about who are the right people to have in the room to ensure program success, and so to ensure that you're getting the right mentors and mentees into the room is the key question. So the right people with the right motivations, the right experience, and the right level of commitment to be able to ensure program success. And of course, who those people are depends on very much on what your program is trying to achieve. There are a few key things at participant recruitment stage, which I'll just go through briefly. First of all, who your program is for, your mentors and mentees, and therefore what are the selection criteria for them? What kind of experience do you need in your mentors in terms of technical expertise, in terms of professional background, in terms of their experience already as mentors or coaches, their willingness and commitment to paying it forward as a mentor, because that's what being a mentor is all about. And who are your mentees? Who are your target group? What kind of experience and challenges do they have, and are they facing? And putting your selection criteria up front and center in your communications materials when you do your outreach, so that individuals are quite good at selecting themselves in or out of anything. So as much clarity for the individual on what it is you're looking for in them in terms of their motivations, commitment, experience. And in addition, what is it that they're signing up to? What is the commitment you're asking for them in terms of group sessions, in terms of number of mentoring sessions, and so on? Making that really clear, the program purpose, the duration, how long it's for, and popping all of that into your communication strategy. So how are you going to reach the individual mentors and mentees? Who is in your network, your community, the wider ecosystem? And what's the communication strategy for reaching them? So you might want to think about having a web page or a flyer, certainly an application form, and certainly a place where people can go in and review what the expectations are and what it is that they're signing up to. Your application form and your application process will be a really good indicator of the volume of interest, apart from anything else, and will enable you to already have some insights on participants' experience and expectations that can then later help with the matching stage. There's lots of different ways you can obviously do shortlisting and selection. We certainly always include an application. That's really an application process, which includes an application form. We often also interview shortlisted mentors and mentees, which helps us to get a little bit more of a nuanced understanding of their motivations and commitment. Again, that gives another lens on the kind of information you might find quite useful when it comes to matching.
Thank you, Susie. We actually have a question from Melvin. I think he's who is in the call right now, who touches on I guess mentees' interest. The question was, how do you get mentees interested in the mentoring program? Because I think Melvin mentioned that there was very little engagement in their mentoring program. Maybe Susie, you can answer that. Yes, Lena, sorry, there will be a recording. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Melvin, for the question, and it's a bit of a supplementary one to what I was just responding to. And I think getting mentors and mentees interested in the program It's really about having that real clear positioning up front and really clearly set out in your design phase and your communication materials. And through that, in the way it's positioned, helping people to really understand what's in it for them, for your mentees to be able to see themselves in what the program is trying to achieve. Yes, this is for me because I am this kind of person and these are the kinds of challenges I'm facing. And for your mentors to be able to, I suppose, see the benefits for them beyond the paying it forward intentions that they may have. We always talk about the two-way process that mentoring is, that there's a lot of learning and development for mentors as well, and an opportunity for growth for both parties in the mentor-mentee. So simple answer to your questions, it comes back to the positioning at the beginning, Melvin. It is really, really important in terms of helping people see themselves in the program, helping them understand what the benefits are to them before they sign up. So that's all really clear before people are actually entered onto the program and are expected to make the kinds of time and brain commitments that a mentoring program requires.
Thank you, Susie. I hope, Melvin, that answers your question. So we're moving on to the other phase in the 7-step framework, which is around mentor and mentee preparation and training. And we had a similar question asked by both Sion and 𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗃. Sorry, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right. So the question is, how can you ensure that you have a good mentor and mentee relationship and avoid mismatch expectations? Maybe Kat, do you want to take that one?
Sure, absolutely. And I think building on from what Susie just mentioned, setting expectations and ensuring alignment for a mentor and a mentee individually, separately as well as together, really starts from that recruitment phase that Susie has been through, and then continues throughout the mentoring program itself. So since mentoring is a personal process, it's challenging to guarantee that every relationship is going to thrive. Everything is going to be, tip top and everything is going to go well. However, by what we've learned is that by applying the best practices that we're sharing today, is actually we can significantly enhance the chances of success. And our impact data really speaks to that, showing that we have I'd say a 95 to 100% completion rate of the mentoring relationships, seeing out the full timeline of the program, which really reflects the strength of our approach. And the Running Effective Mentoring Programs course that we offer really goes through all of these steps, by the way, in a lot more detail, should you be interested in that towards the end, but I'll let Suana maybe speak to that. So once the pairs are matched, it's crucial to really support them in establishing a strong foundation. It's quite, whether you're a part of a structured program or an informal program, in terms of how you are being matched with your mentor or mentee, it's really important that that initial getting together is done in the right way, and that actually it sets them up for success, not anxiety, fear of reaching out, etc. And so what we do is we have a session that actually encourages mentors and mentees to openly discuss how they'll work together, to set boundaries, to communicate their needs, their goals, agree on what it is they really want to get out of the relationship. And so providing regular check-ins, whether through surveys, peer learning sessions, as well as one-to-one calls, creates a safe space for feedback, allowing any issues to be identified. And so in terms of really focusing in on how do you ensure that you're having a good relationship and avoiding the mismatch expectations, it's constantly checking in to make sure that those expectations are aligned to really what is happening in the program and in the relationship. So ultimately, mentoring is about building a trusted long-term relationship, and trust and understanding, as we all know, I'm sure, take time to develop. And so we do need to remind both mentors and mentees that to really approach the journey with openness, mutual respect, and a commitment to listening and trusting the process. Because if we have those, that's really the heart of any successful mentoring relationship, because you can support parties within that if that's the essence with which they're coming into the program and into that relationship with.
Thank you, Kat. So yes, training both, I guess, mentor and preparing the mentee for their relationship is quite critical to the success of
absolutely
those relationships. So coming to something that was raised in the mentee around the matching as well, and a question from Claire is, what is the best way to match mentors and mentees? And you alluded to that just before, Kat, but like, how can you ensure consistent engagement and commitment from both mentors and mentees throughout the relationship? Susie, maybe that one for you.
Sure. Yeah, there's two parts to that, isn't there? Is the
matching itself,
the magical mystery of matching and ways of doing that, and then engagement and commitment throughout. And Kat's covered that quite well. But just to go back to the matching piece, of course, lots of ways that this can be done, and lots of ways that it is done. For us, we tend to use a combination of things. So the information that we gather through the application and recruitment phase. So what are the kinds of goals that mentees have, and what's the kind of offer that mentors are bringing? What have they expressed about what they want to offer to the program, and what have mentees expressed about what they want to gain? Maybe in relation to experience or technical expertise. So there's quite a lot of pre-work, I suppose, from a mentoring program manager perspective that can be done to draw on the information that your selected mentors and mentees have provided. And you might want to also think about things like geography. Is it important for people to be able to get together in person? Is there anything about gender that's particularly relevant in the context that you're working, or other cultural considerations that might affect matching? Possibly also thinking about the professional experience gap between mentors and mentees, making sure that that's right, whatever right is to you, that the gap in professional experience is neither too large nor too small. And you may obviously also want to look at technical expertise in a particular policy area or in a particular sector. For us, we use the data that we get to do desk-based analysis initially, and we also combine that with observation by our teams when we're doing the mentor training and mentee preparation. So what are we seeing in the room in terms of individuals' particular qualities? What's the possible alignment in terms of background and cohesion between the individuals? So for us, there's a nuanced piece that goes on in the background in the room during the mentor training and mentee readiness, and that really helps us to get the matches right. I think another important piece is how, as a mentoring program manager, you announce the matches and set the foundations for that relationship. So in whatever way that you do it, making sure that the matching builds on the preparation that's been done before in terms of mentors' expectations, mentees' expectations, and ideally supporting that first mentoring conversation. There's lots of ways that can be done. We tend to do it through facilitated workshops, which really help that initial relationship building, the kind of contracting and agreement between matched mentor and mentee. You might want to simply provide guidance documents or some framework questions for people to get started. But making sure, I suppose, that launch of the matched mentor-mentee relationship is really quite strong and pronounced, because that's really setting the foundation for the months ahead and for the relationship ahead, which is at the heart of being able to achieve the kind of results that you want.
Thank you, Susie. Conscious of the time, I think there's one interesting question that was asked, and that's related to matching. despite potentially having, match as neatly as possible, there might be some occurrences where there's a mentor-mentee mismatch. And so how do you, as a mentoring program manager, how do you handle that? How do you manage this type of situation? Kat or Susie? Susie, maybe.
I can go.
Go ahead.
Well, the assumption is if we've done everything right up to the matching stage, that happens quite infrequently, because by the time people are matched and getting started and have got started, they've been through a process of exploring their own motivations, their own commitment, and hopefully will be quite open to working with whichever mentor and mentee they've been matched with. When challenges arise, we do encourage mentor and mentee themselves to reflect on, back to basics. What are you here for? What do you want to offer, and what do you want to receive? And to have that conversation quite openly between them. So the first step is to try and resolve whatever the issue is between them, and remind themselves of the commitments that they made to each other at the beginning. And of course, then if that doesn't work, there's a role for the mentoring program manager in going in and exploring with each of the mentor and mentee, and going back a little bit on what some of the challenges are. And I would say in our experience, very rare cases, using that information in those conversations to possibly rematch a mentor and mentee. I would say that's the kind of the last resort, and our hope and intention is always that by the time people are matched, like I say, they're coming in with the right kind of commitment and motivation to work with whoever that they're matched with, in the spirit of achieving what the program is trying to achieve.
Thank you, Susie. I think I'd like to leave some time for questions from you in the audience. I think there was one question from, let me scroll back, from 𝗵𝗍 that was around getting certified as a mentor, and if there is any program of mentoring for certification. On that one, there is, so it's specifically for mentoring, for mentor here. There is a certification for being a mentor, and programs we offer what we call the mentoring skills and practice course that prepares mentors for their mentoring relationships, and equips them with the behaviors, the skills, the tools to really build that trust, that trust and that rapport with their mentees. However, there's a second level to that course that we're working on, but it's not this year, that will lead to certification. I think, Kat, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is certifications around mentoring.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, just to maybe take a step back. So we've been now operating for about 16 years. And how many years ago now? About 8-9 years ago, we became accredited by the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. And what was accredited was actually our program, which included the mentor training, including all of the steps that we've been talking about today. And so as a result of our program being EMCC certified, the mentors who go through our program are able, I've got a thing saying, confirm my speaking language. Am I speaking in French or English? Just to check. I'll just ignore that. Yeah, as long as you go through our program and complete the program, you are then eligible to now be connected with EMCC to now undertake the mentor accreditation with them. However, as with coaching, there's a standard that is applicable within mentoring as well. And so you do have to have 50, 100, etc. hours of proven mentoring experience, where there is supervision and there is, sort of a reflective practice that is undertaken as well. But what our program does is it enables you to get the training and the capacity building and build the confidence so that you're able then to go to EMCC and get that certification. So the process of that, you know, it depends on the program, it depends on what level you're going at in terms of the cost, etc. But they would range from anywhere around, after the program itself, after the training, anywhere from around £300 to £600 in terms of the second part of your question. If you're looking at just a certification and not an accreditation, then we offer certificates after people have either gone through what Suhana mentioned, which is our Mentoring Skills and Practice course, which is an on-demand self-paced course, or through the facilitated programs we run either online or in person. There will be, providing certain requirements are met, then there will be a certificate that is given at the end of that. I hope, 𝗵𝗍, that has answered your question. Thank you.
All right. Just checking if there's any other questions in the chat. I can't see any, but conscious that impact and measuring the impact of programs was something that was raised in the Menti. So maybe, I mean, it's also another question that we often get. And maybe that's for you, Susie. What metrics should you use to measure the success and impact of a mentoring program?
Thanks, Suhana. I'm probably going to give a slight half answer or non-answer to that question because it obviously really depends on what your program is trying to achieve in terms of outcomes and impact, and that will be really different if it's for entrepreneurs or for leaders or for whichever stakeholder group. But I think so your kind of higher level or longer term outcome and impact metrics or indicators will be very much connected to the broader program aims. From a mentoring program management and the steps towards achieving those outcomes, the impact level, as a mentoring program manager, you probably want to know that some good mentoring is taking place along the way. We all know that what happens in mentoring relationships is confidential, and it's a bit of we call it a bit of a black box of what happens in that relationship, and that's also fine. But as a program manager, we kind of want to know that the mentoring is happening, that the progress is being made, and that the quality of that relationship, which is right at the bottom of the base of the triangle, relationship to results, the quality of that relationship is sustained throughout. So for us, we place quite an emphasis on monitoring mentoring engagement throughout the program. So you might want to look at things like, if you had a target of X number of mentoring conversations per month, to track that through monthly surveys or through periodic check-ins with your participants. And thinking too also about, we're working in human development, right? So a lot of what we want to track at the lower levels can be quantitative, but where we get the real interesting insight is through the qualitative feedback that we get at the end, in terms of, that can be through case studies or testimonials or interviews, but to really understand what the change has been for mentors and mentees in particular. And we tend to find that changes in confidence levels are a really good overall indicator for what's going to happen in terms of longer term outcomes and impact. So one of the key things that we try and track is changing confidence levels for mentors and mentees in the particular areas that that the program is focusing on, as a really good basis for them looking at attribution and contribution later to some of the higher level indicators.
Thank you very much, Susie. Any questions from you in the audience? This is quite silent. Anything?
Because we've been talking too much, Suhana.
Maybe. 𝗶𝗁𝗃 has
I'd love
raised.
to hear any other questions from the room.
Thank you, 𝗶𝗁𝗃. Do you want just yes, unmute yourself and yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for the session. I wanted to ask, how do you have set up a business model using as a mentor? I've realized that, well, since I've started doing this, I realize how coaching is sort of given the attention, or when you have to talk remuneration or payment, coaching is the one that's more lifted than mentorship. But when we talk about the importance of it, we talk about mentorship as important, as a long-term thing, but how do you set up like a business model, whether as an individual or even maybe from your experiences in the organization? But I'm asking for it because I am a mentor and I started it, and it's just been touch and go trying to set up like a remuneration model. So I charge per sessions, but because I've put in programs in place that I do, and I have sessions for that. But from your experience, how does one set up a business model? I'm being a mentor. Thank you.
Who would like to take that one? Shall I kick us off, and then Susie, please chip in. So thanks, 𝗵𝗫, for your question. I think for us, it really comes down to sort of, for us, what our definition of mentoring is, and the sort of the viewpoint that we have around mentoring. So for us, actually, mentoring is a voluntary giving within our program. So most of our programs have not included a fee payment for mentors. The only time when we have given fees out is more of a subsidy when they've taken on more than one, well, actually more than two mentees, to really recognize and pay respect to the fact that they're giving of their time. So in terms of setting up a business model as a mentor, I think I personally don't have experience of that, because I'm more of an advocate for it on a voluntary level through our programs, but also through my own practice of it. What I've seen of others who have done it is, if they are, and again, I'm not sure of your context and really where you're focusing, but having a coaching accreditation, to be very frank, the lines between mentoring and coaching are quite blurred in today's world. The way that we see mentoring is around coaching skills, plus being a role model, and plus sharing valuable experiences. So it embeds the coaching skills right at the corner, right in the center of that. And so having a coaching certification really helps to get people to look your way, because that's really where the world, as you've said, everyone pays attention to that, but not to mentoring. So I would say that's probably a first place that I would start, and then look at how coaching is done. So maybe the definition of mentoring that you're looking to practice is a little bit different to what ours may be, but you could kind of, there'll be 6 sessions charged at X. And so you're providing a package rather than individual sessions that are taken up. Yeah, those would be my initial thoughts. And I don't know, Susie, if you have anything, or even Suana, anything to add to that.
Nothing from my side, thanks.
Sorry, if I can just add into that, I think to be really clear as well, going back to Susie's point right at the beginning around being clear on the positioning, is also being really clear on the positioning of what you're offering to the clients, to make sure that there's alignment coming in. So in case you're not offering on a package front, if they take one and then there's no alignment there, then that ruins your future revenue stream. So I think maybe being really clear on the packaging up front would be helpful, or the positioning up front would be helpful. And then looking at how do you package. I think your idea of actually running programs is a great way to build interest, and then the mentoring could potentially come off the back of that. So yeah, just some thoughts on that.
Thank you, Kat. Sion has just popped a question into chat around, so mentors as well as mentees usually say they do not have time and that they are busy. They might say this frequently, which affects the program. How do you keep them committed? Sorry, I have a cat here, and get them to stick to the schedule? Susie, maybe?
Sure. I mean, we touched on that a little bit earlier, and I guess in our experience, the foundational steps of commitment, expectation setting right at the beginning, so that when people are coming onto the programme, they are really clear about what it is they're signing up to, what their own motivations are. So the recruitment and selection process should enable quite a bit of self-reflection and self-awareness of what the individual is coming into, and what it is that they're committing to. There are various things that you can do at selection stage, like set out a participant agreement. So their commitment, the individual's commitment to you as a mentoring program manager or to the program, and that might include things like the number of mentoring hours that they're going to offer per month, the way in which that mentoring is going to be offered, and have that as something that, again, enables that early expectation setting for the individual and for them to kind of physically sign up to what it is that they're committing to. I think the other thing is that mentoring is very much obviously a one-to-one relationship. One of the things that we find really important about an additional layer to our programs is that we're building mentoring communities and mentoring cultures. So we do bring our participant groups together to reflect on their experiences, their challenges, their successes, to celebrate those together along the way. So in that way, you kind of have an accountability between mentor-mentee, and accountability to the program, and also accountability to the wider community that is part of achieving the overall program results. So incentives up front and incentives along the way, and being clear that also that as a mentoring program manager, you're going to be checking in with people throughout. That's an expectation from the beginning. So it doesn't come as a surprise when you call up or send out a survey to find out how things are going.
I think also, just building on that, I think we often hear mentors and mentees both say they're too busy. And what am I going to get out of it? Are the kind of the two points that we get. And I think sometimes if someone is saying they're too busy, then is this really the right time for them to actually participate in this program? You know, if there have been times when we have run the application process, we've done the interviews, and in the interview, it's come out loud and clear that the person is too busy. And we've said to them that they would not participate in the program, not because they wouldn't make a good mentor, just because they're not ready at that moment to be able to give. Mentoring is a giving relationship. It's about giving time, it's about giving energy, giving emotional support, as well as your professional, box of knowledge that most people are coming to you as a mentor are seeking. And so being okay with actually saying, this might not be the time for you to do this, but let's keep you on the list for future programs, is also something that we've done in the past too. Because actually that's the kind of thing to do to the person and to the mentee that they're going to be matched with in the process. Again, we want people who are ready to come into the program, and that includes a time and an understanding of what they're going to get from it as well.
Thank you, Kat.
Thanks for the question.
I hope that answers your question, Sion. All right, conscious of the time, we'll wrap it up now. Thank you, everyone, for your fantastic questions. What is needed to submit as proof of mentoring for the hours for certification from 𝗀𝗄𝗃?
Yeah. So what is needed, 𝗀𝗄𝗃, is first and foremost sort of an Excel list of who you've mentored, the number of hours, and the date, the time, so it's a clear record of what you have done. I think the minimum that EMCC look at is 50 hours for the foundation level, and then it goes up, I think, in batches of 50, but on their website you can definitely check that. And then there is I would say a little bit of an involved reflective practice where they actually ask you to look back on the mentoring, and what have you learned? What new skills have you gained? What worked and what didn't work, and how did you manage it? So really trying to understand your practice of mentoring and how that has developed over that period. They also do, if it's if the person has come through us, they'll come back to us and ask for any feedback on sort of what were the mentees' feedback on the mentor. And then finally, depending upon the level you're going for, there may actually be a sit-in supervision of a mentoring conversation so that they can hear and feel you within the mentoring flow when you're actually mentoring someone. Hope that helps.
Thank you, Kat. All right. Thank you very much for your question. And so now it's the time. Yeah, sorry. Recapping. With the holiday season that is around the corner, we actually have a few updates to share with you and a couple of giveaways. So first, if you're interested in delving deeper in the 7-step framework that Susie presented earlier in the discussion, we'll be launching an in-depth online and on-demand course on running effective mentoring programs in early 2025. So if you'd like to be, the first to know about it, and if you want to secure your spot, I'll drop a link where you can sign up in the chat here. So that's for our upcoming course on the 7-step framework and about, running effective mentoring programs. Second, I'm going to share in the chat now hopefully handy PDF that includes the 7-step framework visual that was shared, along with reflective questions that will guide you in your program design reflection. So let me share that in the chat now as well. Here, it's a checklist. You can download it. Let us know if that's helpful. And lastly, as mentioned earlier, on the importance of being ready for a mentoring relationship, and the fact that we are also here to support you in building a successful mentoring program and relationships, we've just released earlier this week our latest course called Make the Most of Mentoring. And this course is normally priced at £149, and it's packed with insights and tools to help you, should you want to be mentored, to help you and your team develop meaningful and impactful mentoring experiences. And so, as a holiday treat, we're offering 3 free seats. Sorry, that's a bit mouthful, but yes, 3 free seats. And so I just wanted to, I can't show my screen now, but to enter the draw, the lucky draw, you just need to share one of your key takeaways from today's session on social media and tag us 𝗏𝗏, because that's how we'll identify you as a participant to the lucky draw. And use the hashtag make the most of mentoring, and do so by next Thursday. I'm popping the rules in the chat. Yeah. And we'll randomly select 3 winners to join the course for free after next week. What else I wanted to share? Yes, I wanted to share that in the spirit of mentoring, that reflection is a crucial part of mentoring, and to support this and give the space to people to have that time to reflect, we're offering 2 workshops. So hopefully this time it will work. Yes. So that was the lucky draw. I'm sorry. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. These are, sorry, I meant to present that to you, but yeah, sorry, technical stuff. So our upcoming events, we have the first one, the workshop, the reflective workshop on the 5th of December with Nadine, whom some of you might know. And it's going to be guided reflections, and you'll be looking back on 2024 and take stock, identify your key insights, your lesson learned, and I think it'll be a great time to reflect on on this year that has passed. And building on that, we'll have a second workshop in January on the 23rd, in which this time you'll be invited to define and refine your intentions and goals for the upcoming year, 2025. So ideally, you would want to attend both sessions to fully appreciate the reflective process and the full benefit from that time. So you can register through these links, but I'll obviously share also these workshops and timings and registration links in my follow-up email with the recording and everything. So yes, I hope that you got something out of this session today. Last but not least, there's a last mentee I'd like you to hop onto. So I'll pop the link here. And we'd like, if you could just go there and share one of your lesson learned today. That would be great. Let me present that and share my screen. Yes, what have you learned today? If you can kindly hop on the link and share one thing, maybe two, if you can, that you've learned today from today's session. And yes, thank you again very much for making the time to join us today and for sharing all your questions through the chat and the registration form. Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you in the next events. Keeping relationships. Yeah. Thank you. Clear positioning, yes. Thank you very much. Yes, define expectations. Great. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that session.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Kat and Susie.
Thanks, Wenna. Thanks,
everyone. See you all again soon, we hope.
Thank you.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thanks, Angela.
Bye.